How might you think a thing made up of dangerous atoms would look like? Well, this is why hazardous wastes are chronicled. And so you've got that family, and you've got a standard particle table that isn't finished. And this is made up of a standard model of all particles. But what if you had a bedrock between the hazardous waste atoms and the standard particle model unfinished, the table of elements? The Earth itself is a scale that can be utilized to see what's alien. So face value is important, and if it comes to one single atom and you're looking all about it, there's going to be deviations in it, even though it can look perfect on paper. Molecules are no exception, as they're really dynamic when it comes to different geometries. However, they're always interacting in chemical reactions, making an entire dragnet of springs when they spring into action, as opposed to gravity. So the weighing factor is the separation of forces of gravity in any chemical reaction, which is what we're attuned to most because we're always walking the face of Earth. However, in these computations of chemical reactions, there's always a configuration of a certain outset. And in computers, this is called a dual error correction. And combating this is something like trying to bring down an entire dragnet, but in consolidation, you're able to extract out things that are bad. In other terms, when there's a primary consolidation, whether it be grains of an entire dragnet, whether it be grains of dirt or monkeys with disease, is pretty much the same thing when it comes to quantum nature. There's a qubit, which stands for both things at the same time. Whether it be a grain to a monkey, they can be the same thing at once. But how is the qubit derived from with disease? How is a function machine able to be inputted and output is from two slits, both black. That is unimaginable. It shouldn't even be real. Is outside a plane of existence that shouldn't be real. And this is where a filtration device, you can measure outside of planet Earth and where the outer space is. If you're trying to consolidate the entire Earth, the Earth itself is a scale. An experience in a lifetime is something as though, are you living on top of a hill, and at how long would you experience that? It's kind of devoid, just as how a fish could be underwater. How much water will it drink in its lifetime? How much wind will one experience in a lifetime? How long would you experience? How much water will it drink in its lifetime? It's these questions that can't be utilized against common practice. But what's commonplace? pH levels and oxygen dissolving. It's permitted that 6 to 7 parts per million are suggestible in the pH levels. But at what construction about water is going to be changing them? Not to reinvent a wheel, but in order to get a primary consolidation to have a construction, you need a certain amount of the land about. This is a measure of consolidation, and it's easy to see that there's different layers in it. It's just more abstract when it comes to grander sizes of what the finer material and dynamics could be. If you get an atom and you start turning it around, it's easy to see the center of gravity being distorted because light doesn't have one and it always follows a straight trajectory. How might you think a thing made up of dangerous atoms would look like?